second presentation now is from University of Vergata in Rome, in particular from Fabio del Frate and Marcello Maranesi. They are talking about the Fab-Space European initiative. I assume that you are split the presentation with two presenters, okay, in two parts. So, I mean, the floor is yours. Please go.
So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation to present this project. The Fab-Space project, which has been funded by the Horizon 2020 program, so it's perfectly aligned with the previous presentation. The previous presentation was more focused on training. Here we make a step forward also to the applications and to try to create new let's say, initiatives aiming also at the birth of new startups and new enterprises. The project started in 2016 and is going to finish in 2019. So we are almost close to the end, and we are ready also to present some results, even if they are not complete yet, but something has already been obtained. The overall object is to prepare an environment, to set up an environment where people meet, where people share innovative ideas, and build some answers to what could be, the requirements of users that do not much about Earth observation. The main point where all this is going to happen is a university. So a university provides, thanks to its role of academic, of knowledge, so provided the knowledge transfer to the people who are not very much involved or connected with Earth observation, and put them in the conditions to make innovation, and then also accompany them, not university, but some other institutions like Business Innovation Center in the project. As we'll see, as an Italian partner, we have Lazio Innova. So to complete this process, this path, to try to create new business opportunities. So university, as you see, is let's say the center of the scheme, but it's able to open and to give access to Earth observation data to a quite different range of potential users coming from the research. Of course, here we are not speaking of Earth observation research, but researchers who are more involved in other topics, from the most various topics we may think of. Institutions, public authorities, local government entities, the business, so the companies, mainly small companies, for example, software companies or other companies providing environmental services. This is what our experience has said so far about who could be, in terms of company, the main users, and civil society in general, organizations and associations, and of course students, because everything should start from the new generations, let's say, and so that's why also university is an important place and is the focus of the projects, one of the focus, main center. Some more specific objectives. By the way, you see here a more complete title of the project, which is Geodata-Driven Innovation. So we're not just talking of Earth observation. We are talking more in general of geodata and mostly of open data, open geodata, which could be combined with Earth observation data to create these new ideas and these innovations. But leverage space data in particular and in universities. Some more specific objectives. So train users, the training part also here is present. Try to set up networking, so network users in a way that they could share their ideas and they can try to grow together. And support them if they have a valid idea to make a startup or to, to follow their project also in a commercial way, and also to make to act in a way that the project doesn't end with the project itself. When the funding stops, but trying to create the conditions in order that all these initiatives will survive, and will be able to be sustainable even after the project, and at the same time also to enlarge the network. So we'll see, we started with 6 countries and with 6 Fab-Spaces, but we have already reached the goal of enlarging to a number much higher. How the objectives that I was mentioning before could be achieved? Okay, first we have to set up an infrastructure, and also a physical infrastructure, a meeting point where people can discuss, can play with the data, can put their hands on the problems. And of course, in this scenario, they have to be supported by trainers, by what we call the Fab-Space managers. And actually, this is what is said in the project, said that the space shop, of the space application shop, which is a room, a place with some time where you can call, you can email, you can come together in the team, have a discussion with the Fab-Space manager and create innovation. Then, of course, there are also a lot of events, initiatives are called under the name of animation. There are several of them. Also, maybe some of you are receiving emails about setting up new challenges or boot camps or hackathons in the field, of course, of virtual participation. So this is what is called animation. Maybe Marcello will say something more about this kind of initiatives later. And the other very academic point is to try to merge Earth observation topics within other training programs already existing at the university. This is quite a difficult task because sometimes the academics are very strict, very rigid, so it's not easy that a program which has been set up can be made more flexible to accept changes during the course. And this has been one of the most difficult goals of the project, but we actually succeeded in changing a little bit these rules, letting the Earth observation pervade a little bit more the programs that are already present at least in our university at Vergata. Okay, and then pilot actions trying to foster entrepreneurships initiatives. And again, the networking. Also, the networking is about the Fab-Spaces. I mean, we started with 6, and among these 6 partners, there is a continuous interactions of the experience. How everyone says how it's going, what is the specific experience, what the users are calling. If there is already a solution which has been provided to some kind of users, this is exchanged. So this is shared, which is one of the keyword of the project is sharing, sharing experience and innovations. And so this is also important. So these are the initial partners. Basically, there are 6 countries: Poland, Belgium, France, Italy, Greece, and Germany. And for each of these countries, there is the academic partner and the business innovation partner. So for Italy, we have our university at the beginning with Big Lazio, not Big Lazio, by the way, changing into Lazio Innova. But thanks to the work also of Marcello and myself to try to enlarge the concept, now the new team, the Fab-Space 2.0 new team, has embedded, incorporated a few new 14 new Fab spaces. Also enlarging the countries that are participating in the project, as you see they are listed here. Italy is a good score. I mean, we are the country with the most numerous Fab spaces at the moment, and so this is a nice point for our participation. I see here there are distribution of the Fab spaces. The blue one, the light blue one, the new ones, and the yellow are the original 6 ones. This is the structure of the project, just to let you know what are the main tasks, how they have been managed and handled. So you see there is this work package 3, which is the animation, I was talking of it before, and the exploitation dissemination, which is, as I was saying, to make the project survive. And the work package 2 is about training, so all the training initiatives. And then, of course, setting up the structure, the data infrastructure, management, communication. So communication is, of course, to go to conferences and also to make, as we are going directly to citizens, to make all these project initiatives made enoughly known. So this is our Fab-Space shop in Vergata. We have the contacts and the time. Everybody can send an email, can take an appointment and start working with Earth observation. So these are the first animation initiatives, the open days, which were quite successful. We have more than 100 participants, for example, in Vergata, and about the same number, a little bit less in Greece, and every Fab space was able to organize this kind of events. There's a very good participation. These are the 6 Fab bases which are continuously connected. Just have a glance to the users. So who is coming? This is how the percentages of the users, how the distribution of the percentages. So far we have about 360 active users, so I think this is quite an interesting number, because there is actually curiosity and intention to know more about Earth observation, especially from people who don't know about this so far. So far haven't known about this. They are students, they are companies, you see almost most of them. 50%. So they want their business to grow, and they are already on the market, but they want their business to grow, and they try to make it grow, let it grow, using Earth observation to enhance their services. This is some activities regarding training, some numbers also. As we said, we are close to the end of the project. So these are the numbers of initiatives, which means in how many courses, academic courses, the Fab-Space project entered so far, which is the number of students, or how many new courses, also in terms of technology transfer, so how to make a business plan, towards entrepreneurial domain have been also set up. Other courses open to all participants, let's say to all the community, not just for the students which are already enrolled in some university programs. And also this is the number of students who come to the Fab space to develop their thesis projects, either in master or other university programs. And this is I end my part with 2 fast examples. This is a company use case. So a company wanted to know how to use Earth observation data to provide consultancies, activities and services in terms of environment in a place which underwent a soil pollution. So they wanted to know if this soil pollution were also had also an impact on the vegetation, and they don't know anything about Earth observation. They asked the data, and we were supporting them. And this is very interesting one. This is coming from a completely different areas, academic areas, which is economics and finance, and they're interested to detect areas where something illegal happens, and they want to correlate this illegal with some bad management strategy, political or governments not correctly implemented strategy. And we were working on the fires, so you know where a fire event occurs, you cannot make any new building. So using Earth observation, they wanted to localize these kind of events where illegal construction were made, and to correlate them to some, kind of not very good government of that area. But they're of course local, and they want them to correlate this analysis to other variables they're looking for. So I stop here and I let Marcello to go on with the other work packages.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So now we'll concentrate on work package 3 and work package 4. So about the exploitation, basically, of the approach of Fab-Space. So we have handled within work package 3 the so-called animation activities. So various type of activities like challenges, like hackathons, other type of events, and also the bootcamp that we will see immediately after. And in terms of results here, you have some numbers by each country. And I think we are quite well positioned with most of the parameters, just the European innovation event. And the bootcamps organized are still not at the right level, because the second step is planned right in these days, in June-July period, and the third one is going to be implemented at the beginning of next year, just before the end of the project. So let's see how a challenge progress. Basically, the key point is to have a user, a stakeholder that has a need, has a problem to solve, and he is requested to express that in a more structured way. Then we verify if there is feasibility for the solution, and if we have the data, not always with the Sentinel-free data, but also with some commercial satellite data that we got access through relationship with the satellite provider. Then we have a promotion template through which we diffuse the challenge, and then we have the upload to the website. And this is not always such a straightforward approach. It's a little bit cumbersome. Sometimes we go back, we change the problem, we see if there are other possible problems that maybe the customer has not thought about before. Here a list of example of challenges, and they span from environmental monitoring, natural resource exploitation, security, safety, agriculture, and also forest management. So there is this is just a brief summary. The bootcamps are offered to not only the winners of the challenges, but also the ones that have, let's say, willingness to progress in this path towards implementing new services. And they are structured, the first one has been organized in November last year. The second one, as I said, is being organized in June, July. There are 4 weeks through which they go for entrepreneurship, leadership, management, marketing, building their business plan. But they also have some specific technical training, which is tuned to the applications that they have developed. So the ESA Business Incubation Center is taking charge of the management part, entrepreneurship part, and the university is taking care of the technical aspect. As I said, the second and third one are being planned. So now let's go to the exploitation and dissemination. A project like this is not a usual R&D project where you produce a technical result and then you have papers and you have a presentation
and you try to diffuse the techniques that have been developed. Here, exploitation and dissemination means basically, on one side, sustainability, and on the other side, expansion of the network. So if we have been able to develop some good results, both in terms of application and in terms of building a concept towards open innovation, then we will also be able to expand it and enlarge the network. For the sustainability, which is not an easy task, we have developed a common basic approach, and then each Fab-Space is going to develop its own business plan based on the specific characteristic of their country and also the capabilities that they have. And then in terms of expansion, we are promoting the application results and the events that we have organized, but also we run the first expansion, a call for expression of interest that Fabio already mentioned. So we now are 20 Fab Spaces overall. And then there is now being launched another call for expression of interest to enlarge the network further at worldwide level. Part of the exploitation and dissemination is a study about the conflicting cultures of the various players, because we have understood that we have a number of entities with that want to fulfill their institutional tasks. And then we have EOGI companies that want to do more business with their technology. Then we have universities that are interested in publications and funding for research and demonstration. IT companies which are closer than us to the end users, and they want to maintain to do more business, also using Earth observation and GI. Then we have the startups that are trying to find their own space within this ecosystem, and the incubators, which are motivated by venture capital investment and exit strategy. And everything is, let's say, surrounded by GIS vendors and data providers that are the ones today making most of the money and the profit. And then we have other stakeholders like the European Union, the ESA, the National Space Agency. So it's not easy for a startup to understand this overall scenario and find their positioning. So let's see how this works. At the beginning, we have Fab-Space that is animating, creating awareness, motivating people to join and participate. And we have young students, entrepreneurs, SMEs that are getting involved into the challenges. They participate, and the university provides technical support because this is part of their job in addition to the education. Then the promising application ideas are brought forward and do boot camp with big support, and this is again part of the institutional task. But at this point, problem starts because making a credible business plan is not so easy, because the same BIC that is supporting them at the beginning, then they are running a competitive call to finance them. And then they look for really credible business plans. So they are selected. On one side they support, on the other side they then are selected. So if they succeed, they will have some first customers, and then there will be acceleration programs, and finally sailing in real business life. But the key point is that there is a missing culture in this chain, because especially for Earth observation, there is not a very well established market. It's difficult for a student, for a young entrepreneur, to really build a business plan in such complex ecosystem that I described before. So there is a very long journey to go and sail in open waters where there is winds, waves, and rain. And this is something that we have identified through the study, and now we are trying to identify possible solutions whereby to try to combine different cultures, which is the most difficult part, into one common path. About sustainability, we have built the common approach to a business model canvas, And the three main lines of potential revenues to sustain the Fab-Space are training programs specialized for different level of technical or management users, application assistance, so to startups or SMEs that want to develop applications, and some specialized services like, let's say, organizing events with the sponsor industry, and providing, for example, recruitment services for talented people that are looked for by big corporate. In terms of expansion, in the Fab-Space Italy, we have now 4 new Fab-Spaces: Ithaca Polytechnic of Turin, University of Pavia, University of L'Aquila Setemps, and IEST of Venice. And now we are trying to develop a further concept here in Italy together with the Copernicus User Forum, following a application domain approach. So we want to build a network of Italian Fab Spaces, expand further also in Italy the network, and try to have, let's say, an Italian contribution at international level. A new call for expression I just mentioned, and as a consequence of the new call for expression of interest, we will have an event organized during the Free Week, organized by ISA in Frascati mid-November. So what is beyond this is my last slide, what is beyond the Fab-Space 2 project? Because Fab-Space is going to end in February next year, and the project has not set up any legal entity, so we have considered what we should be doing after that. So first of all, what are the lessons learned and the improvements we want to implement? We need to better understand this journey oriented to application development to make them sustainable, improve the involvement of end users and the public stakeholders, and also the assistance to the startups should be more continuous, should provide them really not only training, but really concrete support in their first phase of activity. So we talked with the European Space Agency, and I proposed to Joseph Aschbacher to have ESA playing a little bit the role of MIT for the Fab Lab network, and they liked this approach. So we are now going to create a PhilLab University network, FIUNet, creating a foundation with ESA central support in terms of application and technical means, following a best of EO approach. So the best information about which type of data exist and for what they are suitable, best type of training, best tools. We had before by Mario a presentation about SNAP, but this can be further improved and increased. And so through this best of your approach, we would like also to provide end users with the best advice on a specific application or the best education in Europe about the specific technology or application domains. And again, the purpose is to further grow the network to arrive to some hundreds of universities connected to the network. So if you are interested to become part of the Fab-Space in Italy or in Europe, please, this is my mail address, and you can write to me or go to the website and you will find the instruction to participate to the current call. Thank you.